I'm M11.
Yeah!
All right. Today, I just thought this would be something good to do for all the fans, and I'm sure, I hope that the people here today will spread the word later on. As you all know, Anna Nakagawa and Kawakita, the director, have both passed away. And I'm not here to talk about anything sad or anything like that today. I want to talk a little bit about their lives. You can look up online, you can get all these movies, you can see a lot of the stuff that they, all the stats of these people, but I was personally involved with them for quite a while, and over a 20-year period, and I hope today it'll be informational for all of you and a little bit of fun, and we'll have a surprise at the end, if we don't run out of time. Hopefully we won't run out of time, that no one has ever seen before. And my friend here, who we'll talk a little bit later, he's from Japan. Introduce yourself. English.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm from Japan. My name is Yasutomo Yoshida. Please call me Yasu. Yeah.
Okay, please call him Yasu.
Yes.
Okay, Yasu. Very easy. Yes. Okay. I'll talk about him a little bit later. He's a cameraman. He just graduated from a college where Kawakita and Omori both taught at, and we'll talk about it a little later. All right. And please give him applause for coming from Japan. All right. To get started, I've got two people I want to talk about today, and I thought I'd just go right into it. Let me get this out here. Okay. I actually had a DVD that worked here, and it doesn't work on the machines here, so we're going to just take it as is. You can see a lot of things going on, but let me start with things like this. Here we go. Okay. The picture is Kawakita with the Terminator. Okay. Kawakita, over the years, you'll notice that he grew up to be an adult, but he was always a child, in a good way. He's considered an idea man. There have been a lot of great directors before him, and there will probably be some good ones after him, of course. But he had a big influence with a lot of ideas and new things coming out. I think of as having been a baseball player, I would make the analogy of something like this. If you were looking at a baseball field, the catcher would be Tsuburaya, first base would be Nakano, and third base would be Kawakita. The reason is because it's the hot box that he really loved, the pressure of everything, as they all did, but Tsuburaya could see everything going on. Nakano kind of took everything in and used what he had, and Kawakita took whatever hot thing came at him and used it as well. And so, having the opportunity to talk to Mr. Nakano and Mr. Kaneko, not our guest in this one, but the director, and Kawakita at the same time in a room for 9 hours, I learned a lot about these guys. And so, getting on to Mr. Kawakita, he's always been very idealistic about all kinds of things, very interested in everything. If last year you happened to be at the G-Fest, he was the guest there. Before everything got started, we went over to the Dojo Studios, and he walked in there, and when he first got off the airplane, he had a little bad color. It was kind of white, and I think he wasn't feeling too good. Something happened, but as soon as he got here, he walked into the dojo, and his color changed. It just went really nice, healthy, almost like he had a tan. It just came up right of a sudden. Walked in there, and he became a child again. And he walked around and looking at the miniatures, and he. This is a nickname that some of us called him, not to his face because he brought and punched us out. But after the movie, the How to Train a Dragon came out, the Toothless, whenever Kawakita would get really happy about something, if you see some of his pictures, if he's really interested, you see him going like this. If he gets really excited about something, when he smiles, you'll see his teeth disappear. And so a few of us would call him Toothless, and the pictures we took of him and when we were in the dojo last year, as he's looking at all the kaiju, all the everything that everybody did, all the work they went into it, and he was just shaking his head left and right, looking at everything, and his teeth disappeared as he was smiling. So I knew he was really happy, and I was saying, that's Toothless, but I don't want to say to him, of course. But, and so he had this nickname of Toothless, but it didn't matter how many years he's been doing this. he goes back to that child that's inside him, and he's just looking at everything. And he never sees anything as good or bad, or that's not as good as I can do. He sees something good in everything. That's one thing as a director, maybe a lot of people have not talked to him about that way in his directing ability or anything like that, but it's something I've seen over the number of years that I've worked with him, and especially this last year when we were together. And so it was a great opportunity to see his teeth disappearing and him really be excited to be here. A little bit more about him concerning the G-Fest. In 2000 he came as well. I translated for him then. There were 10 guests at the time, and so many, you know, if any of you were there in 2000, you'll remember you probably didn't get to talk to me at all because I was in every session translating for 10 Japanese guests. And so I was very busy and I had no time to talk or eat, and I lost 5 pounds that year, but it's okay. But anyway, in 2000, it went by really quick. We got to know each other a little bit, but during the movie he was filming, I was an actor, I was on the other side. There's a number 8 and a number 9 studio in Toho Studios. They're right next to each other, and 8 is where we would be doing our stuff, and all the tokusatsu stuff would be in number 9. It's really close by. It's just, you know, a walk of maybe 5 seconds. It's just right next door. And so he'd be doing his thing, and we'd always go in there and talk. We'd go in there and watch what they were doing. If you just caught Mr. Kaneko's session here in the other room an hour ago, he said that during his SOS, during the shooting, he would, when he had some time, he would walk over to the other studio to try to see them, you know, filming their action things. And he went over there, and every time he went over there, all they saw were miniatures, and no one was there filming. And he did that more, you know, for 2.5 months, and he never caught him filming once. In my case, I got lucky. Every time I went over there, they were filming something. So I got to see when King Ghidorah was flying, and Mecha King Ghidorah was attacking and this and that, and then breaking down cities. It was really a pleasure to watch. And you can see how in one scene when the cut was over, how he just kind of light up that it was a good shot, and then he just, it's like my hat turned around, he just got very serious again. And it was really quite interesting to watch that. When he came to this last G-Fest last year, he came and full of, he was a little bit sick, but he came and he was, as I said, he was in the dojo having a lot of fun, enjoying it all, and he says, you know, thanks to the fans and thanks to the translator between the fans who really understands this, I've been able to resonate with the fans in America and even in Japan. He had a new perspective going back to Japan of what needed to be done. Last year I was lucky enough to work with him 5 times. I worked with him 20 some odd years ago for the movie, and then I translated for him in 2000, but during that time until last year, I hadn't seen him at all. And so last year I had to work with him 5 times. We got to count down the 60th anniversary, the 60th birthday of Godzilla last year together. And so it was me, Kaneko Kawakita next to me, and then Nakano, and then Satsuma was there, and some other people. This is an article I hope to write in the near future for GFAN, but did you know that 60 is a very important year in Japan? When someone turns 60 years old, which Mr. Tezaga and also JD are turning 60 this year, and Angulus, 60 is a rebirth year in Japan. It's on the Chinese cycle of the dragon and the monkey and all the different cycles, it's 5 full cycles because 60 years. And so when you turn 60, in Japan they dress you up in red, from head to toe in red, because the word for baby in Japanese is akachan, and aka means red, and chan just means a little thing. And so akachan is baby, they dress you up, and you're actually reborn again. And meaning that in the old days, this is pretty much the time you would retire. But these days, they usually work until 65 or a little bit more than that. And it's a time to start over again, or it's time to do something you wanted to do before and hadn't been able to do. As a lot of the Japanese people that I've met, a lot of these actors, a lot of these directors, a lot of the singers even that I've met, when they've turned 60, they look like they're getting tired of what they're doing because their body can't keep up with what else. And they turn 60 and things just change or turn around. They're psychologically get pumped up again, and they decide they need to do something. Last year, as we were in the 60th anniversary, of Godzilla, they allowed me to count down from 10 down to 1, and with all the, about 1,000 people in the stands who were cheering with us. Nakagawa Anna had passed away already, and they didn't really know how to talk about her without people crying. They wanted to make this an uplifting thing for Godzilla at the same time pay respect to her. And so they said, we'll leave it to you. And I was a little worried, thinking that I might have an international incident on my hands if I did it the wrong way. And so the only thing I could think of doing was saying, as everybody started getting excited, we were counting down from 10. When we hit 5, I just said, let's clap and yell as loud as we can so that even Anna can hear us where she is now. So she can look on now as a smile and be part of this. And we got to 3, and by the time they realized what I had said, we were all clapping loud. There were tears in the audience, but it was a very uplifting thing. And so we were able to acknowledge her and what she's done for this genre as well, and keep it a very happy spirit at the same time. And so I'm very happy to do that. As we finished that, we got backstage, and we were with Kawakita and Nakano, and the other ones went out to get a smoke, went out to do something, and Kawakita and I just started talking. This is the first time that we've ever really talked about a lot. Even here, I translate for them, but they're busy, I'm busy, and so there's not a lot of time to talk. We spent the next 9 hours talking about all kinds of stuff. When I was a kid, I saw the commercial, some of you remember, where an American Indian comes up. It's just a big close-up shot, zoomed-in shot of him. He's got one tear that comes out of his eye, and then you see all the garbage. It pans out on all the garbage, and it's kind of basically saying, look what's going on with my country. What are you doing to my land? And to me, that was a wake-up call. To me, that the Indian was saying, you got to do something. And so when I was 7 years old, I started recycling in cans, aluminum, and newspapers. And at 7 years old, I started into it thinking I'd help recycle and help the Indians so they wouldn't have to cry anymore, is what I was thinking. And I realized it also was good at making money for me. And so as I recycled, my father had an egg ranch. We had 3.5 million chickens. Is what we did my father did for a living. So we had trucks, and we would fill up our garage, and then I'd fill up the trucks. We'd take it in, weigh them before we throw it out, all the newspapers out. Then we weigh it after, and they gave you money for recycling. I even thought about that part until it happened, and by the end of the year, I'd made $10,000, and I was only 7 years old. Pretty good, huh? Yeah, not too bad. And so, again, when having that in my mind, and not even thinking about that until also meeting with Kawakita and having these hours to spend together, it was kind of like him pointing at me. We were talking about a lot of things. He says, you could be the bridge between a lot of this. You understand Japanese, you understand the heart of the Japanese, and the movies behind them and what's going on. People like you need to help the genre. And as a senpai to me, as a guy that's been doing this for many, many years, looking at me as a guy that should be the next person to help out with this, I saw the Indian again. He wasn't tearing up, but he was kind of pointing at me saying, we got to build a bridge. And so I decided to help out. I was in a movie, and it's kind of like when you say, I don't know, I just work here type of thing. I didn't really know a lot about kaiju when I was in the movie. And then I went and did other things in TV and stuff like that. Since coming to the G-Fest, I think this is my 17th year, 16th or 17th, I've gradually learned a lot more about it. And I've read some books on kaiju. The fans know a lot about it. So I remember the first time talking here, and someone said, the atomic breath of the 1989 Godzilla and the 1995 Godzilla are totally different. What do you think about that? I said, I didn't know they were different. And so I really had no idea about that kind of stuff. But now, over these years, and being trained by you, basically, in how to know more about kaiju and stuff like that, I think I was ready to take the challenge. And so you just kind of like was pointing the finger at me. And so since then, we've been doing a lot of stuff for that. Let me go on to a couple more pictures here real quick. But anyway, he was an idea man. And so anything he looked at, this is actually in China where this was made. And anything they looked at, he was always coming up with an idea. Okay, let me see, where is it? This was actually taken, you saw the concert last night, right? Did you like it?
Yeah!
They had a concert at the beginning of this year. Ifukube's last apprentice, his name is Mr. Wada, who does a lot of anime as well, does a lot of the classical as well. They showed the original 1954 Godzilla movie with no sound, and they played all the music to it for the whole movie. And they had 3,000 people come, and in the auditorium had this picture of Mr. Kawakita had a big-sized Godzilla that he had personally helped design and put together and stuff like that. And you know, talked about him and his life and stuff. And so this was at the NHK Hall, which is owned by the government, and it's just a really big thing. And so having that much of an influence on things like that is just kind of interesting how much of an influence he had. Not to take this in the wrong direction, but this is actually at his funeral. If you can see all the flowers, his picture up there, the eyes are supposed to be like Godzilla, but with all the flowers around it, it looks kind of like Mothra. And so they often say how successful you are is how many people come to your funeral at the end. Thousands of people came to his funeral, came to see him, and so he was very successful in that sense. Okay, let's go back over there. This is another one. I just want to show you the front picture. See, he's always smiling. He's enjoying everything he's doing, and these are the flowers here. Okay, let's see. Is there one? Anyway, let's just show this picture. Okay. Anyway, so this is him. We were in the backstage and we were taking pictures together and stuff. I just took a picture of him for this. But being the idea man that he had, pointing to me and saying we've got to keep the genre going, having come to the Godzilla G-Fest last year and saying with the heat, with the passion that all the Americans have as well, we need to keep this thing going. He went out in a really amazing way in the sense he hadn't told anybody he was sick. A few people knew he was. He had actually had a slight heart attack before he came to G-Fest, and he was told not to come. But he said, no, I'm going, and his wife and his daughter came. The day before he did the session here, we went into town, downtown, and we went to one of the famous pizza places. We ate pizza together, you know, deep dish, and he of course looked at us and said, oh my, that's a big dish. And so we found the famous popcorn, we found all the famous places. We went to the thing that looks like a bean downtown, and we just had a really good time. And so his color changed, and he came back and saw the dojo, and everything was so good. He just said, you know, these people could help create the next generation. And he's not just talking about him, he's talking about the fans. A thing that's interesting about Japan that I think is a little bit different than America is when it comes to helping the next generation build, Japan has not been very good at it. As Mr. Tezuka said in his session as well, Kawakita was a big wig at the time, so you really don't hang out together. They did become friends later on, but it was the same with Kurosawa, it was the same with Honda. The understudies are the understudies. You're not supposed to hang out with the big guys. And on the other hand, like Spielberg or these other great directors, they've kind of allowed the next generation to take a movie while being watched, but to take it and experience it themselves. And I think a lot of what needs to happen this next time is, especially with 2016 and 2018 coming out, is the fans to get involved more, to tell and to yell loud and well, to understand what it is we want to see and what we want to continue on. Even though he has passed away, he continues to influence even now. For example, you've heard of the Godzilla Hotel? Have you heard about it?
Yes.
The idea for the Godzilla Hotel was actually him, Mr. Kawakita, and the hotel to do it. The big sculpture they have, it's not actually on top of the hotel, it's on top of the building next to the hotel, is a big picture of Godzilla. It costs $500 to stay there a night. Yeah, it's expensive, and it's been booked for the last 7 months straight, every night. So there are a lot of people who still like Godzilla, and actually when you go in, I gotta go see the room. They didn't let me stay there. I wanted to, but I wasn't gonna find, well, okay, that's another story. Anyway, when I got there, the thing that really struck me is, as you open the windows, you can see how the eyes are looking right at you. And even though it was made, I think it was made after the Violante Godzilla, it looked just like my scene in my movie with Shindo when he gets blown away by Godzilla. And so I walked in and I said, you know what would be a great commercial? Have me run across this, call Shindo out here. And he said, what is it? And it blows him away, and then they advertise the hotel. No, that wouldn't work. You're blowing away him and the hotel. Okay, it wouldn't work, but it looked like it was a lot of fun. But anyway, and so as you stay there the night, everything's a motif of Godzilla. And when you finish your stay, when you check out, they give you a miniature Godzilla that is all handmade. And that in and of itself is worth it. I was actually trying to get a couple, and they won't let me have it because they're still on contract to the company. But one of these years, I'll probably be able to bring a few of those that were at the hotel. Very well. I mean, they even have little holes in the neck where the guy would be looking out and breathing from in the little miniature, so it's pretty cool. And to continue that, he was always thinking about the future and things, and his company, Dream Planet, he brought out a lot of ideas with the coin, the piggy banks, the Godzilla piggy bank type things and things like this. Came up with a lot of ideas. He also thought about the future being not just pointing at me, and that's where I'd like to introduce him again. The person sent to me, Yasu, he's actually was at he just graduated from the college that Omori and Kawakita taught at. He's actually the last student, the last graduating class under the two of them. He will be a future cameraman. And he's actually, if you've seen did you see the two young Japanese gentlemen that were with Kawakita last year, Shingo and Otani, yeah. The two of them it's a director, they want to be directors and producers. They are all in the same class, and he was just happened to come this year. His goal, his dream is to learn the analog world and the digital world at the same time and be able to mix them. And so the best way to do that is to work in Japan for a while, but also see how it works in America. He's going to LA after this to go to Universal Studios to talk to some people who are behind the scenes. And so with a little luck, Shingo and Yasu and Onishi, Otani, these kids will be the next generation who will also understand the bridge between digital and analog and the importance of both sides. And so, that being said, I wanted to just talk a little bit really quickly about what it is we did. Shingo, the kid that came last year, he just won the National Movie Awards for an amateur. He just graduated, and Yasu is the one who filmed the whole thing. Okay.
僕が小さい頃にお父さんが僕の父がおばあさんがハリウッド映画をすごい見てて、ゴジラとかプレデターとかを僕に見せてきて、それがなんでしょう、深層心理にあって、高校時代に、学校祭の映像を作って人を驚かせたり笑わせたりしたのが僕の映像のきっかけで、カメラはそうですね、だからカメラがなんでしょう。
Basically, his father loved to watch movies, Hollywood movies, and Godzilla movies as well. And they loved the Predator, Alien, things like that. And so as a kid, he'd be sitting there next to his father watching these movies, and it just kind of sunk in. And he said one day, more than becoming a movie star or something like that, he wanted to be someone who was behind the scenes. And so he decided he wanted to be a cameraman, and that's what he's been studying at it. He was the one that did film the whole movie that it's called Zella and Gemu is the name of the two movies that won awards in Japan. And just for you guys today, I got a special treat for you. You may have seen on Facebook a little bit of something coming up, and I'd like to show you that right now. You're in for a treat. He was the cameraman on this, and this is what we think will help to become the future of kaiju. Not too bad, huh? The crazy thing about it is, they had 1 week left of school, they had to graduate, they had to create a final project that, unfortunately, Mr. Kawakita died before they were to see their final project. They needed a business card type of thing to take to businesses instead of handing a paper, why don't you do one last project? And we had 1 week to put this all together and let us use the school. They're all looking for jobs. I have other things I'm doing as well. We were able to find a week here and there to put this all together. It took us a week to film it, and then it took us 4.5 months to digitalize all of it, to put in special effects. But wasn't that good?
Yeah.
And so, hopefully this will lead on to other things. But this is what, as I said before, this is what Kawakita has brought. Omori and Kawakita have always been, they've been two guys who have always thought out of the Japanese box. They're two guys who have tried something new and tried being pioneers in things. And so in honor to him, these kids are trying to come to America as well, trying to do other things to honor that and to try to bring it to the next level. With the fans' help, and then of course coming here, and now Tezuka, Mr. Tezuka, and all these other people coming, seeing what the fans have done, seeing the heat, the power, the passion that's here, I think you can understand the importance of what you guys are all doing. I'm going to tear up, but anyway, the reason I come back every year, I love JD, I love everybody, but most than anything else, it's the fans. I come here because you guys are great. So to end the part on Mr. Kawakita, he went out the best way he possibly could. He did it what he loved to do to the very end. He taught students who will continue on the legacy and gave them not just the tools to do what the Japanese have always been good at with the tokusatsu, but to strive to do something even better than that, which is very rare for Japan. Not to say anything bad, but it's always, they've never been able to really get the next generation to make things really go to the next level. And I think this generation may just be there thanks to Omori and Mr. Kawakita. He died on the exact same day he was born. He knew that Japan was going to make another Godzilla movie the day before he died. And so, knowing that he had students like this who were carrying on, knowing that they were going to make another Godzilla movie, and then the next one would be America, his thoughts were that if 2016 goes well, and if 2018 the Americans can do a good job again, there will be more Japanese Godzilla movies, more kaiju movies in the future. So he still lives on within us, and so keep it up, everybody. Thank you so much for that.